Good evening and welcome to BMTV main news at 18 hours. We're live on Topstar channel 114 and also live on Facebook and YouTube. You can also stream live on www.bmtvzambia.com. The headlines. MISA Zambia launches Digital Rights and Public Service Broadcaster Scorecard reports. Ministry of Health promotes multiple micronutrient supplements for pregnant women. PWYP Zambia calls for shared responsibility in mining sector. Ugandan opposition leader Kizza Besigye in critical condition after collapsing in court. Morocco stay focused ahead of Algeria. To present the news, my name is Ruth Musakabantu. MISA Zambia has today launched the Digital Rights Report 2026 and the Public Service Broadcaster Scorecard Report, aimed at providing insights into digital rights, media development, and the opportunities and challenges emerging in Zambia's increasingly connected society. Speaking during the launch, Muntanga Mayembe, Director of Press and Media Development Department at the Ministry of Information and Media, said government remains committed to building an inclusive, secure, and digitally empowered Zambia. Mr. Mayembe, who represented Ministry of Information and Media Permanent Secretary Thabo Kawana, said the digital technologies have become key drivers of economic growth, democratic participation, education, healthcare, innovation, and social development. He said government's vision is to ensure that citizens have access to information, participate meaningfully in digital economy, express themselves freely, and enjoy the rights in a safe and secure online environment.
So I will start with my first assignment, reading a speech on behalf of the Permanent Secretary for the Ministry of Information and Media, Mr. Thabo Kawana. It is my great honor and privilege to join you today at the launch of the Digital Rights Report 2026 and the ZNBC Scorecard Report. These two reports come at an important moment in Zambia's digital transformation journey, providing valuable insights into the state of digital rights, media development, and the opportunities and challenges emerging from our increasingly connected society. Allow me to commend the institutions, researchers, media professionals, partners, and all stakeholders who have contributed to the development of these reports. Evidence-based policy making depends on credible research and open dialogue, and today's launch represents an important contribution to our collective efforts to build a digital future that is inclusive, secure, innovative, and respectful of fundamental rights. Ladies and gentlemen, the government of the Republic of Zambia recognizes that digital technologies have become central to economic growth, democratic participation, education, healthcare, innovation, and social development.
You know if your rights are infringed on when you don't know your rights in the first place. But, thank God for MISA. We will not be left in the dark. All right, so digital rights and extension of core freedoms. So the upgrade of the internet to version 2.0 created a lot of space on the digital spaces, allowing many content creators to express themselves where they could communicate with their audiences directly. So it allowed for a two-way form of communication. So sharing of content was made easy. So in Zambia, the digital space has become central to the public discourse, civic engagement, and democratic participation. For a long time, social media has been viewed as alternative media, where every Tom and Dick can express themselves, where they can communicate with whoever they would want to communicate. Also, media practitioners were allowed to communicate with their audiences. Many researches have been conducted on alternative media.
Meanwhile, Mr. Zambia chairperson Lauren Chisanga says digital rights are human rights, as digital platforms have become key spaces through which citizens access information, express their views, participate in political processes, and exercise their constitutional freedoms. Ms. Chisanga said the Digital Rights and Public Service Broadcasting Scorecard reports are based on research, analysis, and stakeholder engagements, and are intended to document emerging trends, assess legal and policy developments, and provide recommendations for strengthening digital rights and public service broadcasting in Zambia.
Technology has fundamentally transformed how citizens consume information, engage with political processes, and express their civic identities. In this dynamic landscape, the conversation around human rights have expanded beyond physical spaces into the digital world. Digital spaces are no longer a luxury but a thing of the future. They are primary spaces through which Zambians access information, express political opinions, access public services, and also exercise their fundamental constitutional freedoms. Consequently, digital rights are no longer a separate category of rights. Digital rights are human rights.
These ones include dedicated newsroom editorial policies, news programs, guidelines, producers' guidelines. But of course, maybe we have not published these to the public. We are ready, Mr. Zambia, to share these documents with you so that you know that actually they do exist. Secondly, to complement our operational guidelines, the newly enacted Zambia National Broadcasting Corporation Act number 26 of 2025 substantially strengthens institutional autonomy, provides for independent board selection and oversight. While the new Act awaits its formal commencement date through a statutory instrument or a commencement order, internal preparations are active to align our existing guidelines with these new statutory provisions.
The Ministry of Health has reaffirmed its commitment to improving maternal and child health through the promotion of multiple micronutrient supplements for pregnant women across the country. The ministry says the supplements contain a combination of essential vitamins and minerals that help address nutritional deficiencies during pregnancy, contributing to healthier pregnancies and improved health outcomes. Health experts note that adequate micronutrient intake reduces the risk of maternal anemia, low birth weight, premature births, and other pregnancy-related complications. The ministry has encouraged all pregnant women to begin attending antenatal care clinics early, where they can receive the supplements alongside their essential maternal health services. It says regular antenatal visits enable healthcare workers to monitor the health of both the mother and the unborn baby while providing nutrition counseling and other preventive interventions.
Chosen to be a district where this implementation study for MMS was to be undertaken. And I think as a district, we must acknowledge that we've already started seeing the benefits of the supplement that is being given to our mothers. And as such, we want to just make an appeal to Ministry of Health, to World Vision, our implementing partners, that this can be scaled up even to the rest of the country because it has worked. And using the four facilities, we've seen the benefits that have been there in terms of the outcomes of the pregnancies. I'm sure most of the mothers that were interviewed or where World Vision has implemented the MMS, the outcome, birth rate has been very good. We've seen that the cases of anemia have reduced, and even on our side, the referrals for severe anemia have gone down. And we are happy that as Kazungula, we were used as a pilot district to be able to showcase that this is workable, and we feel that it's a good project, especially that there is a combination of folic and ferrous in one side, and as such, the mother doesn't need to take 2 tablets, or if one is not available, the other one is not available, the two are in one, and it has really helped us as a district.
Publish What You Pay Zambia National Director Nsama Chikwanka has called for greater shared responsibility among government, mining communities, civil society and other stakeholders in addressing challenges affecting Zambia's mining sector. Speaking in an exclusive interview with BMTV, Mr. Chikwanka said discussions surrounding the mining sector should go beyond identifying challenges and focus on practical actions that deliver positive and sustainable results of communities. He said stakeholders will, over the coming weeks, continue engaging different groups to identify key issues and develop collective solutions aimed at strengthening governance and ensuring that the country's natural resources benefit all citizens. Mr. Chikwanka emphasized that the responsibility of managing the mining sector does not rest with government alone, but requires the active participation of all stakeholders.
Doing this is informed by the principle of leave no one behind. If the mining sector, the mining sector is very important to this economy. It means that we need everybody to sit on the table as we discuss how mining should or could be of value to this economy. So the alternative mining is that space that facilitates inclusive participation of all key actors in matters related to the management of the mining sector. But specific to this year, we moved from policy to practice to demonstrate that as non-state actors, we are just not talking. There are specific interventions that we have put in place that are contributing to effective management of the natural resources. I think there are sections of the community of this country that think civil society don't do nothing. They just talk. So
Former Minister of Tourism, Rodney Sikumba, says the UPND government has, since assuming office, consistently prioritized the tourism sector as a key driver of Zambia's economic growth. Speaking on 5FM radio program in Lusaka, Mr. Sikumba said government has implemented various policies and initiatives aimed at unlocking the country's tourism potential, attracting investment, creating jobs, and increasing foreign exchange earnings. He noted that Zambia's rich natural and cultural heritage presents significant opportunities for economic transformation, adding that continued investment in tourism infrastructure and destination marketing will further strengthen the sector's contribution to national development. Mr. Sikumba also urged stakeholders to continue supporting government efforts to position Zambia as a competitive tourism destination in the region and beyond.
Right. The first things that we needed to do was to reset the economy. And that was very, very clear from the president, Mr. Hakainde Hichilema, to make sure that we reset this country into the right path. We got into office, and thank you very much to the people of Zambia. Thank you very much to the people of Zambia, of course, for having given an opportunity for President Hakainde Hichilema and the UPND government to actually take care of the affairs of this country. Now, what you will see, Zach, is that we had to look at all those specific opportunities that were able to get us back on the rails. Now, I say back on the rails in the sense that we inherited what I would like to call a basket economy. What our colleagues did, the PF obviously, was literally, for lack of a better term, removed everything that was honestly possible to run this particular government. And in our reset plan as a UPND, which obviously was premised around the 2021 manifesto, was to look at the economic sectors. More often than not, Zach, you'd actually hear people talking about socio-economic. But President Hakainde Hichilema actually recalibrated it, started calling it economic social. Why we say so is because you cannot share poverty. So we need to make sure that our economics, our macros are actually stable. And we had to identify specific sectors within government, which obviously were going to help us bolster to where we're going to get into. So one of the sectors, obviously, not one of the sectors, among the sectors were that of mining, which obviously is our mainstay in Zambia. That's what we're known for after our colleagues from Chile. We're talking about agriculture because we've got close to 4 million hectares of arable land or thereabout. We're talking about tourism. We're talking about manufacturing, commerce. We're talking about ICT, energy. Those were critical economic sectors that we felt were really, really necessary to actually get us back onto the rail. Now, specific to tourism, and just to answer your question more directly, the
Electoral Commission of Zambia Voter Education Manager Emma Simfukwe has urged stakeholders to familiarize themselves with accreditation procedures and other electoral guidelines ahead of the general elections. Also speaking on 5FM radio program, Ms. Simfukwe explained that accreditation is an important requirement for eligible observers, monitors, media personnel, and other authorized stakeholders who intend to participate in the election-related activities. She encouraged applicants to ensure they meet all the prescribed requirements and submit the applications within the stipulated timelines to avoid inconveniences.
Representatives of political parties and polling agents who are stationed at polling station. So the commission issues a card, and you have to present certain credentials in order for you to be issued an accreditation card. And the unique part of our accreditation is that it has a QR code. It is one of our security features. So when you go to a polling station, it will have your face for identification purposes. Your NRC or your passport number will be there. And if you go to a polling station and the totaling center, if somebody is in doubt of what you have, that QR code can be scanned in order to fetch your details. So we have that ID is the authority that you need in order to access a polling station. So when you go to a polling station, a totaling center or the National Results Center, the police officer would request you to produce your ID. Okay, the same, you always have to have it displayed anyway. And you should also have your ID. It could be your NRC or your passport. You need to have it. We also have a category of people that are accredited. These are polling agents. So we need to make a distinction in terms of who a polling agent is. So this is a representative of a candidate or a political party in an election that is assigned to a particular polling station. So they sit in a polling station and they observe the voting process. So the commission, the requirement for polling agent is that they need to swear. They are oath forms that they swear to, and also there's a declaration of compliance to the Electoral Code of Conduct that they need to also swear to. So it's actually a whole ceremony, a day or two before deployment, that they also have to take oath. And that in itself, the oath form, is what they go to a polling station to show that they are representing a particular political party. But before that actual swearing, a political party or candidate has to submit to ECZ through the district election officer in every district.
An aspiring candidate for Makeni Constituency, Wene Hajombwa, has urged residents to support his candidature in the forthcoming general elections, saying Constituency Development Fund, CDF, has brought tangible developments to the area. Addressing supporters during a campaign meeting, the candidate said CDF resources have contributed to improved infrastructure and community development projects that are directly benefiting the people of Makeni. He noted that continued investment through the fund has potential to further improve the livelihoods of residents. He appealed to the electorate to consider the development that has been achieved and to vote for him on polling day, stating that their support would enable him to continue championing initiatives aimed at improving service delivery and accelerating the development in the constituency.
Our concentration was to ensure that the many people across the country must be the beneficiaries of the national package, you like to call it. So the decentralization policy is one big thing that I want to make mention here, that we as UPND we've done absolutely very well. Decentralizing funds, like Chilema would say, down on the ground. I think that is evident in the increased countries development fund, from where we found it at 1.6 to now sitting at 40 million kwacha. Now, that does not choose where you come from, the color, the tribe where you come from. The money goes to every constituency at the same time. I think that is decentralization. That is giving back to the people equally. Even in areas where you got lower votes, they're getting the same amount where you got more votes. That is uniting the country. These are policies of the UPND, uniting the country, bringing the country together. And we, as UPND, we've concentrated on uniting the country, first of all, through the One Zambia, One Nation slogan, through our decentralization policy, through the united cabinet that the president had, where all tribes, different tribes were included in the cabinet. Most importantly, policy of decentralization, allowing the people of Lubansashi, Kaputa, as far as, Luena, as far as Lundazi, access an equal amount like we can get in Makeni and Penang and other parts. Despite looking at the population of that constituency, it's called a constituency. Now, I'll tell you something. There are constituencies that are equivalent to a ward, but they're getting the same amount like we must be getting in Makeni. Hanuma Nkumbula has 44,000 registered voters. There are constituencies with a population of such, but they're able to collect an equal share.
We'll take our first set of commercials. We'll be back with international news.
Was forgiving yourself and forgiving others part of the process?
Auntie Mercy. Forgiving myself, I think, I feel like I'm getting emotional. It was one of the hardest things for me. I remember when I went to the certain church that I was congregating at, and God literally just sent me there because I needed to learn and to grow and to break so that I could build. I realized I had a lot of pain, anger, and resentment towards myself, but also towards my mother, my father, my family, because I felt like I had been failed, in so many ways. And so I remember the pastor, the woman of God, during one of our fasting programs saying, one of the ways for you to heal, or for you to know that you have healed, is when you can talk about who has hurt you and you can pray for them, pray for their well-being without feeling that, and so I began that journey. I remembered a cousin who had molested me and how I had so much anger towards him. I remember he was having his wedding and the family was like, let's go, and I lashed out. They didn't even understand why I was that angry. Stop forcing me to go, and having to start to pray for this person, pray for their well-being. Lord bless them, Lord increase them. It started breaking me, and I learned, that's how I started learning to forgive. I remember I wrote one Mother's Day, was it even Mother's Day? No, I wrote my mother a letter, and I was crying. I was in a parking lot at Kablonga somewhere, and I was crying through it all, but I was not really saying I forgive you, but I was asking her to forgive me.
Ugandan opposition leader Kizza Besigye is in hospital after collapsing during a court hearing. Besigye collapsed while attending proceedings in his treason trial, which he says is politically motivated. His wife says he remains in critical condition in the intensive care unit. His health has deteriorated since he was detained in November 2024, including complications following a prolonged hunger strike earlier this year. Al Jazeera has the details.
Ugandan opposition leader Kizza Besigye is in hospital after collapsing during a court hearing. Besigye collapsed while attending proceedings in his treason trial, which he says is politically motivated. His wife says he remains in critical condition in the intensive care unit. His health has deteriorated during his detention since November 2024, including complications following a prolonged hunger strike earlier this year. Last month, his lead lawyer was arrested and charged with allegedly failing to report acts of treason. Catherine Soy joins us from Nairobi, where Besigye was abducted in 2024 before being taken back to Uganda. So what is the word now on Besigye's condition, Catherine?
Yes, we've been hearing from his wife, Winnie Byanyime. She has been talking through Twitter, and she says that she will not allow government doctors to touch her husband. She says that he is in critical condition. She says that he is unconscious, unable to speak, and unresponsive to medications. And this is something that the family has been talking about since he was imprisoned. His health has been deteriorating, and they do not want him to be attended to at a government hospital, government doctors as well. She wants him transferred to a private facility. That has not happened. So she says that she does not believe that he will get the care that is needed. She says that she will not allow government officials to touch him. She says that her personal doctor, examined him and has determined that he needs to be transferred, but she has not been given that. She has not been allowed to give him that care. She also says that the doctor, his personal doctor, who was in court when he collapsed, was not allowed to see him. So there's
The U.S. military said it has completed a heavy wave of strikes against Iran in retaliation for Tuesday's attempted ballistic missile attacks on American forces. CENTCOM said it hit dozens of Islamic Guard corps targeted in response to Iran's firing on U.S. bases in Jordan and at ships in the Strait of Hormuz. Iranian state media said the latest strikes had killed 3 people, including a 2-year-old child, on Kesham Island, while other locations were also hit in the south and west of the country. BBC reports.
We begin with breaking news from the Middle East. The US military says it's carried out a fresh wave of strikes against Iran in response to recent attempted Iranian attacks on US forces. US Central Command said dozens of Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps targets had been hit, including command centres, missile and drone facilities and maritime capabilities. Iranian media reported that the islands of Qashem and Abadan were among the areas hit. Both are centres of the oil industry. Iran has continued its attacks. The Jordanian military says it shot down 5 missiles on Thursday. Well, Yolande Nell is in Jerusalem for us. Yolande, if you could just take us through the targets, what's been hit and what the assessment is of this latest escalation.
So the US military is talking about a heavy wave of strikes carried out over a couple of hours on Iran, saying that this was in response to yesterday's surprise attack on US forces who were based in Jordan. And Iranian state media have talked about explosions across much of southern Iran, Qashem Island, where at least 3 people were killed, but also explosions heard in the west of the country close to the border with Iraq. And not long after we had news of the US strikes having been completed, the Jordanian armed forces put out a short statement saying that 5 incoming Iranian missiles had been intercepted with no reports of casualties there. Now, in the past few days, there have been increasing concerns that this war is spreading across multiple fronts, with the US and Saudi Arabia launching attacks on pro-Iranian groups in Iraq, also those threats from the Houthis in Yemen to Red Sea shipping. But now Egypt's cabinet has confirmed that a drone caused the fire on two vessels on its Mediterranean coast last night. They're associated with the natural gas supplies in the country. One of them is US owned. Now, it would be the first time, if Iran had carried out this attack, that there had been a direct attack on Egypt that we'd heard about since the war in Iran began nearly about 5 months ago now. And the Egyptians say that they're investigating the cause of this. Up to now, although the Egyptians are close allies of Iran, they have been spared attacks largely because they do not have US forces based in the country. That is a long-term Egyptian security policy.
Yolande Nell, thank you for that. That was Yolande Nell.
In sports news tonight. Morocco head coach George Vilda says his team has put its 4-0 opening victory over Kenya behind them as they prepare for tonight's Total Energies Women's Africa Cup of Nations WAFCON Group A clash against Algeria. Vilda says while the Atlas Lionesses were pleased with their performance, the focus is now entirely on the next challenge. The hosts are aiming for a second straight victory that would move them closer to the quarter-finals.
Buenos días a todos, gracias a todos por acudir a esta rueda de prensa. Bueno, después del primer partido lo valoramos como un buen comienzo, el equipo y todos estamos contentos porque se rindió bien, se vio una buena imagen de la selección, que es lo que queremos hacer en cada partido, pero para nosotros pues eso ya es pasado. Sabemos que lo que depende de nosotros lo vamos a hacer para ganar el siguiente partido. También que lo que depende para ganar este partido es el trabajo que hagamos mañana en el partido, no lo que hemos hecho antes. Y bueno, pues no hay, ya os digo, estábamos contentos pero no eufóricos. Y bueno, pues espero un partido difícil, un partido duro, un partido contra un rival que defensivamente está muy trabajado.
Algeria coach Farid Benstiti says his side will focus on football rather than Morocco's home support when the two neighbors meet in Group A this evening. Benstiti believes Algeria's priority is finding a way to break down the Total Energies Women's Africa Cup of Nations WAFCON tournament hosts. A victory for either side would provide a major boost in the race for a place in the quarter-finals.
If I said that it's not special games tomorrow, I will lie. We want to say that, of course, it's regional games against Morocco. And we have to prepare this match, of course, and know that it's a special games because we play in Morocco and they are at home. But we have to consider that the organizations, the football is the most important. And I will not try to get another way, and I will only focus about the football and against the force of Morocco and how we can disbalance this team. That's only my job.
Kenya coach Beldin Odemba says her players are mentally ready for tonight's WAFCON Group A clash against Senegal. Odemba expects a physical contest but believes that Harambee starlets understand what is at stake. Kenya is seeking its first points of the tournament after opening its campaign with defeats to hosts Morocco.
How do I know Senegal? I've watched their matches and they're physical side. So I can say that their physicality is what they have. They run, they're well built, and they use that as their advantage. So we already understand what they're bringing, and we are looking forward for a good game. Like I said, more mentally, we all understand the assignment right now, and we all understand that it's do or die for us tomorrow. So we're really working hard to ensure that we keep on staying here in Morocco, and we shall give our best tomorrow. Thank you.
Well, that's all we had for you this evening. A recap of the headlines. MISA Zambia launches Digital Rights and Public Service Broadcaster Scorecard reports. Ministry of Health promotes multiple micronutrient supplements for pregnant women. PWYP Zambia calls for shared responsibility in mining sector. Ugandan opposition leader Kizza Besigye in critical condition after collapsing in court. Morocco stay focused ahead of Algeria. Well, thank you so much for watching. This has been Ruth Musakabantu. Good evening.
It's showtime again.